I'm Tyler Clemens. Tomorrow morning I'm going to be embarking on a 100-mile journey from Logan, Utah to Fish Haven, Idaho. I think the nerves are going to come back a little bit before the start of the race. Standing there, waiting for the gun to shoot is never just the easiest thing. So I might be a little bit nervous, but I think I'm going to be more excited than anything.
Yeah, buddy. Have a good race, man. I don't know where they went. What's up, dude? What you need? Anything?
Yeah, I need to take my shoes and socks off real quick. Feeling pretty good. I had a little bit of I don't know, it's like, that first climb was really long, and then I got to that first aid station, and leaving that, I just kind of got into the dumps a little bit, and I had to pull my music out already. Been doing good on nutrition. Just had these Cliff shots. I didn't look at what I was putting into the pack. These happen to be spearmint, and I think I'll probably be throwing them out because they do not taste good. But I do probably have the freshest breath on the trail. So, you know, pros and cons. We're gonna have a little bit of stuff to do while we're here. Alright. Started. See you in. That was easily the hardest section so far. I left mile 37 aid station feeling like I was gonna lose everything that I ate there. Really not feeling good at all. Walked straight into an 1,100-foot climb, which was not fun on a not good stomach. But recovered a little bit. Started to run again. Actually caught a few people. Have a nice little downhill going into the next aid station. After this next aid, we have the biggest climb of the day. This is where Cat Bradley dropped me. The only time I've been dropped as a pacer. So, I know what I'm getting myself into. Not necessarily looking forward to that, but just gut that out and be at the halfway point. Why run 100 miles is a phenomenal question, because I want to see if I can. I know I have before, but I've not done it here. The bear is going to be a beast. It's not called the bear for nothing. So I know that it's going to be tough, but I've been through a lot of big mountain races before and feel like I can push through whatever the bear is going to throw at me. May not be pretty, but I will push through it and make it to the finish. What's up, dude? I think between my long sleeve and this jacket and gloves, I should be alright. This should be okay. I feel like I'm just not really super energized. Like I can still move, but I'm not like all the way there. Alright, dude, kill it. Long trek up. Got it, man. The middle of the night is a worry for me. Nighttime and my previous 100 milers have been really hard. it is where the hallucinations start to come out a little bit. I really get into a pretty low point. I'm gonna have a crew with me, a couple of folks, Carrie and Chris, running with me throughout the night, and really having them there I think is gonna be big.
Oh, I'm ready to be done for sure.
Yeah. How are you?
Okay. All right. 344 out. 344 out.
Okay, well, have a good run.
I would say the hardest part of my race was probably about miles 70 to 75. It was 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I had been running through the night, and mentally I was shot. I kept looking at our pace. We weren't going that fast. I was doing math to get to the finish line, and I didn't think we would have time to make it. So through those miles, I continually told Carrie, my pacer, I was just going to drop when we got to mile 75. There's no way that we could make it. And for me, that was probably the lowest point in my race. At mile 75, rolled into the aid station. Carrie and Chris sort of talked. They got some food in me. Didn't really listen to me saying that I was going to drop. They let me lay down outside for about 20 minutes and rest for a little bit. And as soon as that 20 minutes was up, they got me up, told me to, put my headphones in and just gut it out.
So only if you guys think you can take me in like 20-minute miles.
Well, you have to.
I can say 20-minute miles. Going to.
You just got to turn off the voice in your head.
So Con, rolling into the mile 85 aid station, he had passed Carrie and I, and he was flying. And when we got into the mile 85 aid station, Con was still there, and he said that his crew hadn't been able to make it out to the aid station. It had been raining on us, he was freezing cold, just drenched, soaked through all of his clothes. So Chris actually took it upon himself to gather up all the gear that we could from my gear, his gear, Carrie's gear, some of the volunteers at the aid station. We got Con bundled up and said, hey, let's go. He was gonna drop at mile 85. And we said nope. So he took off with us and we stuck together from mile 85 to the finish. Going down the last probably 5-ish miles of the race, it had rained, we had a lot of snow that had melted, and those trails were just flat out mud. But it was just something you almost had to laugh about because there's nothing else you can do. Luckily, Chris, myself, and our new friend Con had trekking poles, and it was just a slip and slide for probably 4 straight miles. Hitting the pavement of the road, it's about a mile to the finish line. So I knew right where I was, and at that point I knew it was going to happen, and we were going to finish. And that probably had to be one of the highest highs of the race. Yeah, I mean, after any 100-miler, there's a ton of people that you can thank. I think the race director did a really good job on this race. It's really well put together. The volunteers at the aid stations were phenomenal. They helped out anytime the crew wasn't there, especially. So the volunteers, obviously a race can't happen without them. I really think the biggest thanks that I have to give a shout out to is Chris and Carrie for crewing and pacing. There's absolutely no chance that I would have made it to the finish line had they not been there to help out. And finally, all the folks that were watching and encouraging from afar. A lot of people were tracking me along the way. I had a ton of messages on my phone when I finished, people sending inspiration, and just excited that I was making my way through the course. So a ton of people to thank. I've probably forgotten some people, but those are the main folks.
So what's next?
What's next? After a night of sleep, I think next is a day of sitting around, drinking a few beers, and celebrating a finish of the Bear 100.
So in a lot of races you get confused with Timmy Olsen?
At the start line, I feel like it might be a little more understanding that I'm confused with Timmy Olsen because we haven't started running yet. At the finish line, I feel like that'd be a little more confusing because I think he probably finished 12 to 14 hours faster than I did. But yeah, I would be really confused if someone saw me running in at 34 hours and thinking I was Timmy.